So, is it that time in your life yet? Do you feel like your family is complete and you and your spouse want to not worry about changing that? Well, the decision can be difficult, but the recovery doesn't have to be. After your vasectomy, you gotta get testes. Doctors usually recommend a jockstrap and ice for your boys to help with comfort. Well, testes is the best of both worlds. This is for the man who is out on the go and needs to get things done. You get the ice packs from the freezer, strap up, and saddle up. The packs give you at least 20 minutes of comfort, even if you're just sitting around watching the game. And most important, guys, no wet spots. Put on the jockstrap under your briefs and go about your day. They come in 3 sizes, medium, large, and extra large to get your right fit. Now head on over to testes.com. That's TEST-EEZE.com. TEST-EEZE.com. Your wife is going to thank you for the snip, and your testes are going to be thanking me. Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee, and this is a show where we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Amazon Music, Spotify, wherever, guys. While you're there, go and rate, review, subscribe, then head on over to the Facebook group or Twitter account and join in the discussion. Don't forget dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com in case you have a little bit of a longer comment. And then you can find me personally, Slim Dayspring12 on Twitter and Instagram. Well, hello everyone. Hope you all are enjoying your weekend. It is a sunny Saturday here in Austin, Texas. It was supposed to actually rain today, but I guess now it's not going to, which is nice. You know, we're getting to those months now where the temperature is going to start climbing and climbing to where, you know, in a month and a half, it's going to be 90s, hundreds, and that's not very comfortable. So I'm going to enjoy this 80-degree weather as much as I can, guys. Hope y'all are getting your weekend started off right. I know I did last night. Me, my wife, my daughter, and some friends of ours went to a local carnival, had a good old time there, spent too much money in my mind, but nevertheless, the kids had fun, which was great. Then we went back and watched episode 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, came home, and I watched The Mighty Ducks, Game Changers, yes. Of course, I grew up on the Mighty Ducks. I love the Mighty Ducks, so I got to check it out. And then after that, I watched episode 1 of Invincible on Amazon. Now, just to talk about that briefly, Invincible, based off the comic book by Robert Kirkman, same guy who did Walking Dead. I read a little bit of this, comic book years ago. It's been a while, but I know the basic premise of it and kind of the twist that happens to set things in motion. So I sat down, watched the first episode. The ending of the first episode, of course, totally got me, totally hooked me. I'm on episode 2 right now. I know there's 3 episodes, and then I think they're coming out weekly, but I'm on episode 2 right now. And, after the end of the first episode, definitely hooked me as it should have. And episode 2 is doing pretty good so far. Looking forward to this series. If you guys are watching Invincible, let me know what you think. Or, of course, if you haven't checked it out, I would say if you're a superhero fan, go ahead and check it out on Amazon Video. All right, well, today we are here to talk about a trailer that dropped yesterday. The, not first trailer, but the next trailer for James Gunn's The Suicide Squad came out online Thursday. James Gunn was teasing it online. He even put out a poster for it. And now we have a new trailer for this film's coming out August 6th in theaters and on HBO Max. That's right. For those of you, of course, who don't know, Warner Brothers is doing kind of the dual thing this year, taking their, movies, still allowing them to be in theaters, but also putting them on HBO Max, mainly because, of course, COVID's still going around. Theaters still haven't fully recovered. So Warner Brothers and a few other studios are trying to play both sides, where if they can get some money from the theaters, which is how they usually make most of their money, they'll have people do that. But also, they're looking, that one step into the future with streaming and HBO Max, and maybe, they can get more people to sign up for HBO Max, which I enjoy the service actually. HBO Max, I think, is my favorite service right now that I use. So, trying to get more people to subscribe to HBO Max, also still trying to get some of that theater money, playing both sides of the aisle, if you say so. But, Kong versus Godzilla, I know comes out Wednesday. Wednesday it is. I'm going to wait. I'm a Tuesday moviegoer myself. I'm going to see it in theaters. I know it's coming to HBO Max, but I'm going to go see it in theaters because that's the kind of film you definitely want to see in theaters. The big spectacle, it's how it's meant to be seen. It's how the director wants you to see the film. So I'm going to do that, but it's going to be almost a whole week before I see it because I'm a Tuesday moviegoer because Tuesday is discount day. And I'm used to watching a lot of movies to where I go on Tuesdays because they're cheaper. So it's just a habit of mine. That's what I'm going to do. So I will review Godzilla vs. Kong. It's just going to be almost a week or so before I actually get my review out. So anyway, we're talking The Suicide Squad, guys. And with this, there's a lot to unload. Let me just start in a broad general sense as far as the DC cinematic universe and kind of the broad sense of that. We all know Justice League, the Snyder Cut, came out recently. They even have Justice League, what is it, Gray? Justice is Gray, that just came out as well. We can watch the whole movie in black and white. Just when you thought Zack Snyder couldn't take any more color out of the film, he takes all the color out of the film. Go figure. So anyway, I did my Justice League review. And just to give a few more comments about it, I went back, and like I said, I watched the Snyder Cut. And then I went back and I watched the theatrical cut. Well, then I went back and watched the Snyder Cut again. And then I went back and watched the theatrical cut again. And, I still say that I think I prefer the theatrical cut just because of some of those things that were missing from the Snyder Cut, or the original cut, I guess, is what you would say, that Joss Whedon put in that I thought were very good character moments as far as Bruce Wayne, saying that they need Superman back no matter the cost and kind of pushing Diana a little bit. And you could tell, I don't know if those scenes were shot after Wonder Woman had come out and been successful, that they kind of, said, okay, let's shoot some more Wonder Woman stuff. Obviously, when the Justice League film came out, she was up center in the promotion. So, because she had been the real successful one out of all the characters to that point. But again, I did miss some of those scenes that were done for the theatrical cut that weren't in the Snyder Cut. And also the ending part with Superman, because I'm a big Superman fan. Aquaman and Superman, those are my guys. I love the not impressed. I mean, that's kind of the big thing, right? The not impressed in the Snyder Cut was great. I loved it too. But I also loved in the theatrical cut where, Superman was kind of playing with Steppenwolf a little bit. In the Snyder Cut, he was just like not impressed. And that's the only damn word he said, I think, the whole fight. Where in the theatrical cut, he was being more lively. I think more what Superman should be in my eyes. So again, I think I like the theatrical cut better. The Snyder Cut, though, let me put it this way. Obviously, this 4-hour movie would make a great 3-hour movie. I'm not saying anything against it. Not saying anything against this film because I enjoyed the Snyder Cut. If you take out the stuff that was to set up future films and, obviously speed up some of the slow motion stuff, I think you'd have a really solid 3-hour movie that could have been put out. And I'm not sure why. Well, I know why the studio wanted to shoot additional stuff because they wanted to make it, less serious, more lively, I guess you would say. Obviously, The Flash dealing with the Russian family, at the end there, and him and Superman trying to save people, that wasn't in there. I get why they changed it, but I think they easily could have saved themselves some time and scrutiny if they would have just taken what Zack Snyder had done and just cut that down instead of shooting more stuff. That's just my thought on it again. Again, Snyder Cut, I enjoyed it. I think I like the theatrical cut a little bit more just because some of the character details I felt were a little better. But it's a piece of art, guys, and we're all entitled to our opinion when it comes to art. Nobody's wrong or right, despite what some people think. And now, of course, we have the Restore the Snyderverse campaign going on, which basically means they want the studio to let Zack Snyder finish the other two films that he had planned when he was shooting Justice League. And that ain't gonna happen, guys. I'm sorry, but the what is it? The president or CEO of Warner Media actually said all this. We're not getting a Snyderverse, and we're not getting an air cut of the Suicide Squad, not the Suicide Squad, Suicide Squad. Excuse me. And of course, the fans, they won't let up. I get it, they won't let up, but I think you got to look at the past, guys. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, they were fine. Financially, I think they did okay, but they didn't do what the studio wanted, and most of the general audience did not like the films. My wife, who I would consider a general audience member, has none whatsoever interest in watching the Snyder Cut at all, okay? And you can say, the fanboys will come and they'll watch it and they'll love it. That's great. But if you just get the fanboys to go see your movie, you're not making enough money. You got to get a general audience in there to see it multiple times. And again, my wife has no interest in anything Zack Snyder would do with the DC Universe from here on out. Can't say I blame her. Would I personally like to see it continue? I'd be interested. Much with the Snyder Cut itself, I was interested in seeing it, but it wasn't a necessity for me. I think Warner Brothers and the DC universe have moved on from all that, and some people aren't letting go. I appreciate the enthusiasm, but I'm okay, with it. And I think Zack Snyder's okay without it as well, because he's got his whole thing going on Netflix with Dawn of the Dead. And if you read the Vanity Fair article and other pieces of media, I don't think Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers are on the best terms to where they would want to continue their relationship. So I think it's done. I think it's over with. Never say never. I'm fine if it continues. I'm fine if it doesn't. That's just kind of my whole thing about it. Now, how this ties into Suicide Squad, the 2016 film, was after Batman v Superman came out and, financially didn't do what the studio wanted. Mostly critics and audiences did not like the film. That's when Warner Brothers started to hit the panic button. And their next film to come out was Suicide Squad, directed by David Ayer. You had Will Smith, Margot Robbie in there. And rumor has it that the studio kind of took over. And they locked David Ayer, the director of the film, out of the editing bay and had a trailer company come in to re-edit the film to, again, try to make it more lively, kind of almost want to say Marvel it up is, kind of what they wanted to do, because they saw the kind of movie Marvel Studios was making. They saw what Man of Steel and Batman v Superman didn't do. They didn't do the numbers that Marvels were doing. So they were like, okay, we got to, set the course, correct it, do something different. So David Ayer, a director who I really like, he did End of Watch, which I enjoy, Fury with Brad Pitt, which is a great film. There's another one that he did that I really liked as well. Was it Sabotage, I think was the name of it? Maybe, yeah. He's in a couple films, and, he's a guy who I had total faith in when it came to this movie. He himself has said, there's stuff that the movie that came out is not the movie that he shot or envisioned. He said that. Jared Leto himself, who played the Joker, said there's a lot of stuff with him that we didn't get to see in the film. And I believe it, because if you look at the trailers for Suicide Squad, if I was to look at the trailer and just tell you what probably was going to happen in the movie, I would have thought the Suicide Squad was going after the Joker. And instead, the Joker was very minuscule in this film. And the real villain was, what's her name? Oh, gosh, what is her name? I totally forget. It's Enchantress. That's what it is. Enchantress, yes. Enchantress was the main villain in this, played by Cara Delevingne, who, honestly, I find her rather attractive. And then in some ways I don't. It's very odd, the look she has. She was in that Valerian movie, too. That was, not very good, but, she's a model turned actress, and, she's kind of hot. I like her. But anyway, she turned out to be the main villain, and it made it all mystical and sci-fi. And I remember watching Suicide Squad thinking, where's the Justice League? This kind of villain is not what the Suicide Squad, should be facing. They should be facing the Joker and other mob villains or even governments, not supernatural beings. That's more the Justice League, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern. That's kind of their territory. So again, the villain kind of felt out of place, and it just seemed odd that the Suicide Squad would be trying to take on such a villain as this. So that kind of threw me out. But Suicide Squad, the 2016 film, I remember watching it and I didn't enjoy it. I did not enjoy it. I think I've seen it once since I watched it in theaters originally, and you could tell it was Warner Brothers and DC's answer to Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy had just come out, I think, a year or so ago, and maybe 2 years. But anyway, it was a fun film about a bunch of misfits, and people really enjoyed it. That's what they were trying to do with this, and I think they fell flat. So I find it rather ironic that when you have a pseudo sequel to a film that was supposed to be DC's Guardians of the Galaxy, you bring in the director who actually directed Guardians of the Galaxy for this. So kind of odd on that one. Now, when it comes to James Gunn himself, that's another interesting story because he got fired from Marvel actually I think it was right after Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or maybe it was a year or so later. A website dug up some old Twitter pictures of him that did not show him in a good light in a Halloween costume. And, people were outraged by what they saw. So the president of Disney Studios came out and fired him, is what came down to. I don't think he did it without consulting anyone, though. He didn't consult Kevin Feige, head of Marvel Studios, and I don't think he consulted Bob Iger, who was the CEO of all things Disney, before he did this. And it came out rather odd because then, as soon as he was let go from Marvel and Disney, every studio wanted to work with him. After Guardians of the Galaxy, after he had made these no-name characters into staples of the general audience, everyone wanted to work with him. And, everyone was trying to get a meeting with him. And, he sat down with Warner Brothers. They were talking DC, and they basically offered him anything he wanted to do. Anything he wanted to do. They offered him Superman, but he turned that down, I believe, is what the rumor was. So they settled on Suicide Squad, which, come on, James Gunn, Suicide Squad, it makes sense. It does make sense, of course, that he would do Suicide Squad with his kind of personality and the type of films he likes to make. Suicide Squad seems like something right up his alley. And then, after that announcement came, another announcement came that James Gunn was rehired at Marvel. Apparently something had happened, and he was able to begin production on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 again, but he had already committed to Warner Brothers, so, he's like, I'll do Guardians 3, let me get done with Suicide Squad. So we have James Gunn, a director who is doing a DC film and a Marvel film, both in two cinematic universes, bridging the gap, showing everyone that there is no real hostility between Marvel and Warner Brothers, or DC and Marvel, in regards to the studios. The fight is in the fanboys, the people who are, pro Marvel and anti DC, or vice versa. It's with the audience and with the fanboys where the rivalry is. The studios are like, yes, they want DC films to do good. DC's like, yes, we want Marvel films to do good. Because, again, all tides raise sinking ships, or something like that. So we got James Gunn, the Suicide Squad, and it's kind of like a pseudo sequel from what my understanding is, because the 2016 film was Suicide Squad, and this is the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad 2, or even some kind of like Suicide Squad Death's Doornail or something like that. So I think it's one of those films you don't have to see the original one to understand what's going on in this one. Even in this trailer, they explain that, these are criminals where if they go on these missions, they get years taken off their sentence. And, if they try to get out of line, then the chip inside their head will explode. It's all, pretty self-explanatory, I think, in the trailer. So I don't think you have to have seen the 2016 film at all to go with this one. Now, they're bringing back cast members such as Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, who's become kind of a staple in the DC cinematic universe. In this one, you also have Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. And then you also have, what's his name? Jai Courtney, Captain Boomerang. He's going to be in this. And then Joel Kinnaman as Rick Flag. I don't know if I saw anybody else I recognized returning, but I know those four are returning. Everyone else is kind of new. You have Idris Elba as Bloodsport. You got Michael Rooker in there as Savant. Nathan Fillion, who is friends with James Gunn. He's TDK. Pete Davidson as Blackguard. John Cena as Peacemaker. And then Weasel, the little giant weasel character you saw in there, is played by Sean Gunn, who is, of course, James Gunn's brother, who did all the actually stop motion for Rocket Raccoon in Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers movies. Yes, Bradley Cooper is the voice of Rocket Raccoon, but the person actually doing the motion capture for Rocket is Sean Gunn. Peter Capaldi, the former Doctor Who, is in there as well as the Thinker. So pretty nice cast. And we got our, first glimpse of this at DC Fandom. And, it kind of got everyone really riled up. James Gunn, if you know his body of work, he's a crazy guy who is known for doing crazy things. And this kind of, seems like it fits. Now, true confession time. I myself, not a big Suicide Squad guy. I read comics, and Suicide Squad has never really been comic that I read. Now, recently, I've checked them out more after the film, and right now, one of my favorite writers, Tom Taylor, is writing a Suicide Squad book, and I enjoy it mainly because it's Tom Taylor, and it's just like any other author, where Tom Clancy or whoever, you enjoy what he writes. Same thing now with comic book writers. I enjoy really take a writer that I like, and whatever he writes, I seem to enjoy. Tom Taylor is one of those people. He's writing Suicide Squad right now. He went on Twitter and, said something to James Gunn. James Gunn responded. So it's really cool that those two are talking. And if you are on Twitter within the last 24 hours, people are commenting on things on the trailers, such as King Shark and how he looks a little different. And Gunn is responding in a very diplomatic way as far as why things are changed from the comic to the movie. That all makes sense, and I think it's really cool that he's doing that, too. And Gunn, I believe, came out yesterday, even said King Shark is going to be voiced by Sylvester Stallone. I've watched the trailer several times now, and when I went back and rewatched it, I could hear, Sly's voice in King Shark, so that was cool. But the trailer itself starts off, and the team are going back to save Harley. Peacemaker, not a big fan of this. And just John Cena as the Peacemaker, we already know they're looking to do their own spinoff with that character. I think casting has begun with that character. And from this trailer alone, I don't know the character very well. In fact, again, another honesty, I don't know a lot of these characters very well. Bloodsport I know Harley Quinn. Trying to think, who else could I say I actually know? Amanda Waller, I know King Shark, Captain Boomerang, but all the other ones, Blackguard, Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man, Weasel, Thinker, I don't know these characters very well. Thinker I know a little because he was the villain in season 4 of Flash, but that's really all I know about him, so there's that. But the other ones, again, I'm not a big Suicide Squad guy, so I don't know a lot of the characters, so I'm looking at them very fresh, much like you guys are. Peacemaker being one of them, I don't know very well, but in this trailer, I could see how they would want him to get his own movie, or how he could do, because he, seems like he is a very good guy. I don't know how he fits in with the rest of them, but he seems like a type of guy who's very, pro mission and pro what is right, perhaps. So how he fits in with this crowd, I don't know. But anyway, he doesn't want to go back for Harley Quinn. The rest of the team does. I love the joke. Idris Elba, you got to wear a toilet on your head, man. We're still here. They show up. Harley Quinn doesn't need rescued. A little funny bit in all that. And then the trailer goes on, of course. They're going on another mission. They're recruiting more people, people that we're not used to seeing from the original film. Joel Kinnaman, back as Rick Flag in this one. He was very hardcore in that first film. This one almost seems like he's a little bit softer. Maybe because he's been leading the Suicide Squad again. This is a semi-sequel for a while, so he's become more attached to the people around him or his team, perhaps. Could be one of those things. But in either event, again, he seems a little softer, I think, compared to the other film. And the trailer goes on, and it's got what's the song there? It's Dirty Work by Steely Dan, which after yesterday I heard has, starting to have a resurgence. Because, it's an older song and not a lot of younger people or people my age even know the song very well. But, you put the trailer in a popular upcoming film and people are going to want to hear it. That's just the way it goes. So, but the trailer itself, it's total James Gunn. It has James Gunn's signature all over this. And the cast is just killer. The way everyone is, Peter Capaldi, great actor. He's going to be awesome. John Cena, not a big fan of him as far as an actor, but, I think James Gunn's really good at taking an actor or a person in the role and turning their weaknesses into strengths, much how he did with Dave Bautista with Drax. Pete Davidson, I sat down a couple weeks ago and watched that King of Staten Island, and I was impressed with his acting chops. The character, the film was okay. His character was a man baby. I don't like those type of characters, but he's awesome. Nathan Fillion, oh, Captain, my Captain, Captain Malcolm Reynolds. Always see him in whatever he does. And, of course, he and James Gunn have a close relationship, so you knew he was going to be in this somehow. In the trailer, he's drinking a Mr. Pibb or a Dr. Pibb? And then Michael Rooker, again, another friend of James Gunn's, best known for Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's in there. Jai Courtney back as Captain Boomerang. Idris Elba can do no wrong in anybody's eyes. Viola Davis, great. Sly, King Shark. That looks like it's going to be a really fun character. Sylvester Stallone voicing King Shark. Margot Robbie I can't tell if she's more beautiful than she is talented, but she's gorgeous to look at and gorgeous to watch perform. So love her. And of course, like I said, Joel Kinnaman in there. Pretty cool too. Joel Kinnaman did the RoboCop remake a few years back, and I gotta say, it's a film I enjoy. I know a lot of people have harsh things to say about it because they enjoy the original RoboCop so much, but Joel Kinnaman, I enjoyed his RoboCop movie, and I'm just going to say that, and you can send me all the mean hate mail and tweets. I don't mind them, guys. So, and then the trailer goes on, and the big surprise for me, this whole trailer, was at the end when they introduced Starro. Now, for those of you who don't know who Starro is, his big thing, or the creature's big thing, is an alien that was the first official villain of the Justice League. Going back to when the Justice League first formed, it was Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, and I think Black Canary. But Batman and Superman were not in the original team of Justice League when they were formed. Much like how when you tell people that Captain America wasn't in the first roster of the Avengers, people are shocked by that. Batman and Superman were not part of the original Justice League when they first formed. But the original Justice League team did fight Starro, so I thought it was cool that they brought in this original character in here. Starro having some telepathic abilities, some mind control, and also, unless you completely destroy the creature of Starro, it will reproduce and grow again. So it'll be interesting to see how they use it and how Suicide Squad tackles this classic character. I will say this, though. If you've watched the, Snyder Cut, there is kind of this little creature thing that Steppenwolf uses to try to figure out where the mother boxes are. It goes on people's heads, it kind of crawls up and, attaches itself to your brain and shows Steppenwolf what this person knows about the location of the mother box. And it's very reminiscent of Starro, the little, Starro offspring that, attaches to your face, and that's how Starro controls a person. Very reminiscent of it. And the fact that Starro is going to be in this film, whereas we just saw a version of, Starro, so to speak, in the Snyder Cut, again, to me kind of solidifies Warner Brothers has moved on. You had your little Starros in the Snyder Cut, but this is something completely different, which again says the Snyder Cut does not count as actual DC film canon. So that was another piece of information that I got, based off this trailer. You can tell that, again, Snyderverse ain't gonna happen, guys. And it just let's all just go and move on from there, and be thankful that we're getting more and more other stuff that looks like could be good. Because honestly, yeah, I wasn't thrilled with that first Suicide Squad movie. In fact, I didn't like it at all, really. But then again, I'd be very interested in, again, the cut that David Ayer actually wanted for that film. I think would be interesting. But I don't think we're getting that either, according to the Warner Media CEO. But I like, what DC is going. We got Aquaman 2 on the horizon. I'm semi-interested in Flash. We got this. We got the Batman with Robert Pattinson. There are a lot of good things in regards to DC films on the way. Look to the future. Don't focus on the past. And words to live by, and if you don't like what's happening, I get it, guys. I totally understand. But it's James Gunn, so I have to have some faith. And from the trailers that we've seen, from the footage that we've seen, it's going to be bonkers. It's going to be batshit bonkers, and I am eager for that. And again, this one's going to be on HBO Max and theaters. I'm still going to go see it in theaters. Again, to me, the theater experience is what movies are all about, no matter what kind of movie you're watching. But a movie especially like this, like Godzilla vs. Kong, action movies of this sort, spectacle films, you have to see them in theaters, I think, to fully appreciate them. When a week or two ago, Raya and the Last Dragon, I could have watched it on Disney Plus with my daughter, but I wanted the full experience, so I went to the actual theater, took my daughter, and we sat and watched Raya and the Last Dragon in theaters as the filmmakers wanted it to be seen, as, all these directors hope you will go and see their movie. So that's what I did for that, and that's what I'm going to do for this, and it's going to be a crazy ride, and I cannot wait. But that's all I have to say about it, guys. What did you think of the Suicide Squad newest trailer? Are you interested in this film? I want to hear your thoughts, really. I honestly do. And I know, again, if you're a Snyderverse fan, I would love to have conversations with you, about, how you feel about, where DC should go from here in a non-Snyderverse way, honestly. I want to hear them. I love having these conversations. That's why I do this show, why I have the Facebook site, the Twitter site, everything set up, because I don't get to talk enough about this stuff to people, and that's what it is. It's sharing and, having fun conversations like this in a respectful way. Insulting someone just on their opinions, not cool. There are people out there that like films that I don't like, or other things, but movies are art, and art is an opinion. It's not facts. You can say, oh, the Snyder cut was way better than the theatrical cut. It's a fact. It's not a fact. That's the opposite definition of a fact. It's your opinion, and it may be, one that people agree or disagree with, but those aren't facts. But that's it for me today, guys. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Like I said, I'm going to be checking out the rest of Invincible coming out. The Irregulars, that Netflix show, just came out this weekend. I'm going to try to check that out. I'm also in the middle of trying to watch the Best Picture nominees for Oscars. I love the Oscars. So once they announce the nominees, any Best Picture films that I haven't seen already, I try to watch. I think there's like 3 more I need to watch to get all the Best Picture nominees before the Oscars next month. So I'm working on that as well. But a lot of stuff coming, guys. A lot of good stuff coming. Let me know what you think about Suicide Squad or anything else in the realm of geekdom. That is it, guys. Go out, enjoy your day, enjoy your lives. And until next time, may the Force be with us all.